Hey guys, welcome back to another great game of CEDH. We have a few tournaments coming up, and with the big shakeup, felt we needed a little more practice with our decks. Starting us off is Noah on Inalla. You honestly need to be a wizard to pilot this list. It's an intricate Grixis combo list, aiming for Spellseeker loops. His opening hand had a Mana Confluence, Mana Vault, Arcane Signet, Snap, Talisman of Creativity, Step Through, bottoming a Brain Freeze. Next up is Griffin with Tymna Tana. This deck is otherwise known as Bloodpod. It's a meta crusher deck, and tuned to a specific meta, it can often hold the entire table down, but only if tuned properly. His opening hand was a Wooded Foothills, Boseiju, Imperial Seal, Collector Oof, Survival of the Fittest, bottoming a Path to Exile, and a Kiki Jiki. In the third spot is hidden on Rielle. This is an Is It Discard Matters deck that uses Rielle's ability to net positive on cards such as Faithless Looting to dig deep and assemble an Underworld Breach combo. His opening hand had a Misty Rainforest, Burning Inquiry, Is It Signet, Cyclonic Rift, Gilded Drake, and a Dak Faden, bottoming a Misdirection. And bringing up the rear is Mike on Kinnan. And what can I say that people don't already know? Kinnan makes way too much mana, lets you sit back on Kinnan activations for big dumb boys, and has the ever-looming threat of just combo killing the table, with a few very searchable artifacts. His opening hand was a Gemstone Cavern, Flooded Strand, Scalding Tarn, Mana Vault, Mirage Mirror, Fierce Guardianship, and a Tezzeret the Seeker. But without further ado, let's get on to the gameplay.
Alright, block there, kill that. Oh, that is trample. Guess I'm just dead on board.
We have a pregame as Mike puts in a Gemstone Cavern into play, exiling a Flooded Strand. Noah starts off the game proper with a Mana Confluence, taking one to cast a Mana Vault, and following that up with a Talisman of Creativity into an Arcane Signet. Griffin has a Wooded Foothills and cracks the fetch for a Badlands, but shortcuts as he casts an Imperial Seal. He'll take two and finds a card to put on top, but passes there. Hidden plays out a Misty Rainforest and cracks the fetch for a Volcanic Island, and hands the turn over. Mike also has a fetch, as he plays and cracks a Scalding Tarn for a Tropical Island, tapping out to cast his Commander Kinnan. Noah untaps and takes one off the tap vault, but misses his land drop and passes there. Griffin has a Boseiju as land, and for one casts a Soul Ring, following it up with a Collector Oof. Noah will float a colorless and a blue, but the Oof resolves, with Noah Wizard cycling a Step Through before his mana fizzles. He ends up grabbing a Spellseeker to hand. Hidden has an island, and for two casts a super useful Is It Signet. Mike plays out a Yavimaya Coast as land, and ends his turn with a Mana Vault. Noah once again takes one from the tap vault, but unfortunately is now really stumbling with the Oof out. Griffin on his turn taps out to cast a Survival of the Fittest. Hidden plays and cracks a Prismatic Vista, grabbing an island, and tapping out for his Commander Rielle. Mike untaps, draws, and just passes the turn. Noah untaps, takes one, and looks like he's on plan, discard the Spellseeker due to hand size, as he passes the turn there. Griffin plays out a Command Tower, and for two casts a Dauthi Voidwalker, with Hidden lamenting another piece of Stax hitting the board. Hidden heads to his turn and casts a Gilded Drake, who will swap with the Dauthi. Mike on his turn casts a Green Sun Zenith where X equals 3. It will enter the Dauthi zone with Mike grabbing out a Bloom Tender. Noah went from lead to last as he untaps and passes once again. Griffin for 3 casts his Commander Tymna. The Commander resolves, and Griffin then heads to combat as he swings the Drake at Hidden with the Oof heading at Noah. There are no blocks, with Griffin on his second main paying 2 life to draw 2 off Tymna as well, with Hidden at his end step cycling a Frostveil Ambush to trigger Rielle and draw 2 total cards. Hidden plays out a flooded strand and cracks the fetch, bolting himself when he grabs out an untapped steam vents. He then follows this up with a burning inquiry. Griffin will respond with a deadly relic on Rielle though, but Hidden has an Is It charm to try and counter the spell. However, it looks like there's some tag teaming, as Mike then free casts a fierce guardianship to counter the charm.
I appreciate the help, Mike. This was probably going to go at Kinnan.
Those cards are exiled.
Yep, I appreciate you not doing that.
Rielle is gone, but the burning inquiry resolves, as the table draws 3 and discards 3 at random. With the notable hits being a Mirage Mirror from Mike and a Scholar of the Ages off Noah. Although Hidden was also helping for the Spellseeker, as all these cards are exiled to the Dothy zone. Hidden then ends his turn with a super useful Mox Hammer. Mike untaps and plays out an Otawara as land. This will give him the 7 mana needed to spin Kinnan, who reveals a Void Winnower off the top, ending Mike's turn there. Noah takes 1 off his vault and discards a Mox Diamond due to hand size. Griffin plays out a Horizon Canopy and ends the combat. He sends Tymna at Hidden, the Drake at Mike, and the Oof at Noah. There are no blocks, with Griffin gaining 2, but paying 3 to draw 3 off Tymna, although he passes the turn there. Hidden untaps, and the table needs to figure out an answer to dealing with this Void Winnower. Hidden lets the table know he's holding a wheel, as Noah says he has a solution as he casts a Chain of Vapor targeting the Void Winnower. Noah does make the argument Mike needs to copy it to bounce the Dothy, or else Hidden will just get the Eldrazi. As Mike agrees and sacrifices the Otawara to now target Dothy. To which Hidden sacks the creature to cast a Deadly Relic on Mike's Bloom Tender. The creature is exiled, with Hidden following that up with a Windfall. Griffin ends up having a response, as he activates the Survival to pitch a Grand Abolisher for Kiki Jiki, and then activate it again to pitch the Kiki to find a Felidar Guardian. But with the wheels still in the stack, Mike then evokes out an Endurance. He pitches a Nyxbloom Ancient, and has Griffin shuffle in his graveyard. But with him still having 1 green mana left, Griffin will still get 1 more survival trigger, as he pitches the Felidar to grab the Kiki back. The Windfall then resolves, with everyone discarding and drawing 6. With the Void Winnower no more, Hidden then ends his turn with a Curse Totem.
Dude, what the fuck?
It's to stop him.
What does that do?
Know, activated abilities of creatures can't be activated.
I'm running out of combos.
Mike plays out a Cephalid Coliseum as land. He then casts a Mox Opal, but passes there. Noah untaps, takes 1, hand plays, and cracks a Polluted Delta for an Underground Sea, shortcutting as he casts a Dothy of his own. Griffin starts off with combat. He sends the Drake at Noah, the Oof at Mike, and Tymna at Hidden. And surprisingly, Mike doesn't take the trade, as Griffin will gain 2, but pays to draw another 3 off Tymna. Griffin then chalks in an Overgrown Tomb, and for 3 casts a Ranger Captain of Eos, discarding a Gemstone Cavern due to hand size. Hidden has his own Cephalid Coliseum as land, and for 3 casts a Rhystic Study. Mike plays out a Boseiju as land and realizes that was a mistake, but powers through as he casts the One Ring. He'll give a card to Hidden, but the artifact resolves, and he gains protection, but passes there. Noah plays out a Gemstone Cavern and casts an Unearth. He pays for Rhystic, but Mike responds with a Mental Misstep. He counters the spell, and Noah passes there. Griffin once again starts off with combat. He sends the Drake at Noah, the Ranger Captain at Mike, and Tymna at Hidden. There are no blocks, with Griffin forgetting about the protection, as he only draws 2 off Tymna. He then shocks in a Godly Shrine, and for 2 casts a Diabolic Intent. He sacks the Gildadrake and gives a card to Hidden. Hidden will respond though with a Frantic Search. He draws, discards 2, and untaps his 3 lands, but ends up passing on the Diabolic. Griffin finds a card to hand and then casts a Manglehorn. Hidden draws again, with Griffin blowing up his Curse Totem off the ETB. It will exile to the Dothy zone, with Griffin then discarding a land due to hand size. Hidden plays out a Scalding Tarn and cracks the fetch for a Mountain, tapping 5 to cast his commander Rielle, with Mike at his end step pongifying the Oof. Hidden draws, the Oof dies, but still in end step, Griffin fires off a Swords on Kinnan. He'll pay the 1, but Mike has a Dispel. He pays for the Ristic, with Hidden responding with a Pyroblast on Kinnan, with Mike tapping his ring to draw. Mike untaps and loses 1 off the ring. He plays out a Homeward Path as land, and then taps the ring to draw 2 more cards. He then recasts Kinnan for 4 and follows it up with a Mox Opal. He pays for both Ristic triggers and then taps out to activate Kinnan. And unfortunately that is an error on our part, as we didn't catch the Mox Opal should have entered tapped. Although Mike ends up missing on the Kinnan flip as he passes there. Noah takes 1 and plays out a Verdant Catacombs. For 1, he casts a Reanimate, targeting the Spellseeker. He'll pay the 1 for Ristic, and with a Spellseeker ETB, stacks the Inalla trigger underneath. He finds an Essence Flux off the first Spellseeker, and after paying the 1 for the Inalla, finds a Slaughter Pact. He realizes he will need to get rid of the Ranger Captain, as Noah then cracks his Dothy to target Hidden's exiled Curse Totem. Griffin will respond by cracking his Ranger Captain to stop Noah from casting the spell. Griffin untaps and plays out a Bayou as land for turn. First up, he activates his Survival of the Fittest. He discards a Twin Shot Sniper and grabs out a Cut Soul. And for 3, casts a creature. He gives Hidden a draw, but responding to the Cut Soul, Hidden then casts a Mystical Tutor. He finds a Force of Will to put on top, and then cycles a Boon of the Wishgiver. He'll draw 2 due to Rielle, and then fires off the Force, exiling a Time Twister to do so. Griffin will respond with a Pyroblast. Hidden draws, and then fires back with a Flusterstorm, to counter the blast, and then Cutzel himself. Griffin then heads to combat, and sends the Ape at Mike, with Tymna and Manglehorn heading at Noah. There are no blocks, with Griffin drawing 2 more off Tymna, ending his turn with an Eidolon of Rhetoric, paying the 1. Hidden draws for turn, and starts things off with an Island, and then a Rending Volley on the Eidolon. Hidden then follows that up with an Underworld Breach. Noah will respond with an Essence Flux on the Spellseeker. He gives a card to Hidden, with Hidden responding by cracking his Fiery Islet to draw another. He doesn't have a response, with Noah grabbing an Offer You Can't Refuse off the ETB search. Noah then fires off the offer, but can't pay for the Ristic, as Hidden draws again. But the offer is good, getting Hidden 2 tap treasures, and Noah then cracking his fetch for Volcanic Island to let him pay the 1 for the Inalla trigger, this time finding a Lively Dirge off the clone Spellseeker ETB. Hidden then filters mana through his Signet and uses the red on a gamble. He finds a card to hand and randomly discards a Simian Spirit Guide. This will trigger Rielle to draw him 1 card, with Hidden then casting a tapped Lion's Eye Diamond. Next up is a Recall for 1. He discards a Mana Vault and, holding priority, cracks his LED for triple red, letting him rebuy his Breach, and with the gamble in the bin, the table will scoop it up to the repeated Brain Freeze, winning Hidden the game with a round time of 73 minutes. Game review. Well, that's why we practice. Definitely feels like some of the plays were a bit sloppy, but overall it was an interesting game. I think Mike should have offered the trade for the Oof when he had the chance. He was holding the One Ring, and Kinnan hadn't even tied once that game, so unlocking his artifact mana and card draw earlier probably would have been beneficial. Granted, he could have been worried about unlocking Noah's mana, but with the Scholar getting exiled, Noah didn't have that many combos actually left in the deck. Thanks to everyone that joined for the game, and before everyone leaves, I want to thank our special Patreon members, Slyfox and Holy Septic, for their support of the channel. along with all of our other Patreon supporters as well. And remember, never give up, even if you're dead on board. I'll see you guys later.